What's up, everybody? It's Levi from LeviLassick.com. Thanks again for joining me. And this is a 6-episode series with Dr. Misak. And Dr. Misak was the third doctor out of the 5 doctors that I saw that helped me cure my ulcerative colitis over a year. So in this episode, you're going to learn how Dr. Misak got his start in natural medicine and how he uses math to be able to understand where your body is deficient and how to correct those issues. The importance of frequencies and vibrations, and we're also going to talk about the incredible power that your body has to repair itself as long as it has the right environment to do that. So thanks for joining us. Come check it out. I think you're going to find this episode extremely interesting and helpful, and we look forward to you joining us. All right, and we are on with Dr. Daryl Misak from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And just a brief introduction on Dr. Misak. I want to say that, my story, a lot of people know that are on this channel, but for those that don't know, in 2013, I had ulcerative colitis for 8 years. And I acquired that while I was in Iraq in 2005. So after 8 years, it finally caught up to me. 2013, I lost 50 pounds in a single month and became bedridden, disabled. I was near death. I was in Chicago at the time. I found 2 key doctors that I've discussed in other videos that really helped me get on the healing path. And then I moved to Pittsburgh and, of course, immediately looked for a natural doctor in the area and came across Dr. Daryl Misak. And what was really interesting is whenever I came into your office, again, completely different than what I had ever I learned so much during that year because it took me a full year to recover, and it took 5 key doctors, and Dr. Misak was number 3 in that in the 5 key doctors, and that's just people that I found by chance. But you were a licensed pharmacist, is how you started out, and then you transitioned into natural medicine. Actually, got your ND, your naturopathic doctorate, correct?
Right. Yep.
Yep. And so. What I find really interesting, well, I'm going to let you, if you want to give any more on your background, or does that kind of sum it up?
Well, it kind of sums it up. I started with pharmacy, ended up Duke Medical Center, trained rounding on general medicine, oncology, watching people fall apart, and that bottom line, it came down to choosing the drug that was most cost effective to control the labs and the symptoms and get them out of the hospital. And watching cancer patients die, and I'm just like, wait a minute, biochemically, these people are in a catabolic state, they're breaking down. Wouldn't IV nutrients help? And they're like, there's no research. Well, I started looking it up. Guess what? Ralph Moss had come out, Ralph Moss reports and stuff. And I'm like, there's actually a lot of research. And they're like, well, that's been refuted. I never found anything refuting any of the information. It's just not accepted in the general practice. Next thing you know, I learned about naturopathic doctors. I out in Portland, Oregon. And then I did compounding pharmacy while I was out there, which was kind of a blessing in itself and really enabled me to come across and, have a different perspective on health than what most people do.
Yeah, that's great. So I wanted to get a little bit into your method, and I'm not sure because as I mentioned, or I didn't mention, but we were talking beforehand, I haven't seen you in 6 years, but I still actually and I'll talk about this a little bit later, but what I thought was really unique when I first came in your office, the first thing I did, and every time I came in your office, was I had to spit in one cup and pee in another cup. And I just remember you told me, you were looking at pre-digestive enzymes in saliva and post-digestive enzymes in the urine. And from that, you did an algorithm. Are you still practicing with that today?
Oh my God, yeah. That's the basis of. I just wrote a book. I just haven't got it published yet, and I teach on YouTube. I have a channel, and explaining these parameters is variable. The bottom line is there was a guy named Kerry Reams, and he, if you go to 1,000 doctors and you have them to define what perfect health is, how many answers are you going to get?
1,000?
Probably so, right? Everyone's going to define it based upon what they see as perfect. Oh, mental, physical, spiritual well-being and blah, blah, blah. Well, Kerry Reams explained it on a quantum mathematical level, that he determined what the ideal energy efficiency is in the human body based upon the frequency and vibration of what we are. And so if you go back to when science was science and Tesla says, hey, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, you have to think in terms of frequency and vibration. Well, Albert Einstein comes behind and does the theory of relativity and understanding if we take things apart, on the atom and break it down, this is how we explain energy. Well, Reams explained it. What if we put it back together? How does things come together? And so he found the perfect frequency for human beings. And then he explained it in an equation and found these variables: sugars, pHs, conductivity or salt levels, cell debris, turnover of bad cells, and nitrates, how our body utilizes nitrogen to build or break, or whether we're breaking things down, and explain what was perfect. So if you have these variables and you know what perfect is, and you can say which variable is the furthest away from perfect, it tells you, hey, this is where your problem is. And so I just teach people what perfect actually should be, which it's in all of us. God's in all of us, if you really think about it. So perfect is possible, but it's really hard to attain, to get a lifestyle to actually have perfect chemistry. But when you move the chemistry towards perfect, there's a relative increase in energy. And at some point, you're consuming more energy than what your body needs. And then your body starts to build reserve energy and get rid of the waste, and you naturally start to detoxify. And so, and then I know, based upon that chemistry, what is deficient. What do we need to give the body? And so I practice analytical medicine. I actually, there's nothing diagnostic about it. It's like, if you have an analysis and you know what ideal is and where you're away from ideal, but you know what it takes to put you back and what is needed to do that. Well, I know you need selenium. I know you need zinc. I know you need calcium. I know you need magnesium. I know you need B12, folic acid, or the list goes on based upon an analysis. And so I'm just giving the body what it needs, and the body does what it's supposed to do, because once you're consuming less energy than what you're generating from the diet that you're living from, I help to identify an ideal diet, then the body just starts repairing itself. I teach people how to identify what foods are wrong for them based upon their chemistry going out of imbalance. And I teach them what they need. And then we use therapies when we see that the chemistry falls in line. And I've just gotten better at what I was doing with you 6 years ago.
How long had you been practicing that whenever I saw you 6 years ago?
About 4 years. Okay. I started around 2008 to 2009. I was introduced to the concepts. I started testing all my clients and being like, oh my God, people are really screwed up if this is true. And then I did what it said to do, based upon introduction to Reams's theory, and to get my chemistry as healthy as I could. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I can have this much energy, And so the next thing you know, I just started testing everybody, observing what we did. And I learned that this is a system of measurement that tells us if the therapy I'm using is beneficial or not. So if people are doing IV vitamin C or ozone therapy or UVBI or whatever it may be, colonics, hyperbaric, if it messes your numbers up, then it's not helping you. But if it's moving your numbers towards ideal and helping your body to process, then it is. So we identify what's beneficial and what's not by just relatively doing a simple urine and saliva test that you can do at home. You just have to understand what those numbers mean, and that's what I teach on my show.
Oh, so do you have a home kit?
Well, yeah, you can order all the kit, what you need to test yourself. We can get all that to you. Your own home testing kit, probably between about $550 to $700, depending on whether you want digital meters or not, and things like that. And then you have to do the reagents. I have on my YouTube channel, there's videos on how to do the testing specifically. And but the problem is people can turn around and run these numbers like, okay, what is this telling me?
Right.
But that's where I'm trying to do these shows to explain. Let's break it down. Sugars help you to understand oxygen availability in the health of your blood. pH actually helps you to understand pre-digestion, post-digestion, the strength of your liver bile, how well you're processing things, and how well your body's doing overall, the speed of how things are moving in your body. Conductivity tells you the salts and the thickness of body fluids and your ability to discharge heat and how your body's processing whether your nerves are irritated, whether your smooth muscle is going to be breaking down. Cell debris tells me if your kidneys are stressed. Are you holding water weight? Nitrates tell me if you're able to build protein in healthy cells or whether your body's in a breakdown state and whether you're putrefying things in your digestive tract and getting overgrowth. You know, so I try to make these numbers functional and give people a way of looking at a picture of health versus saying, okay, my sugars are out. I know I'm not getting enough oxygen to my brain and my body and I feel it. But if one variable's out, the others are going to be out. And I try to help people to see a pattern in pictures with them.
I mean, that's absolutely amazing. I think whoever's watching this right now might have just learned more about their health just hearing that than they probably seeing medical doctors, you know,
I think the beauty of it is that I can run a set of numbers and I can look at a set of numbers and without even knowing anything that you have going on, I can tell you what symptoms you're having and what, and in some cases, the severity of where it is. Mm-hmm. I can turn around and say, you're probably having this. You're probably not sleeping. You're waking up to pee in the middle of the night. You're crashing like mid-afternoon. You're having headaches. They're probably temporal. I can tell you which side it is. I can tell you if you're having back pain. I mean, it's amazing. I can tell you if you're having anxiety and nervousness. You know, I can tell you if you're, it's just, and it's all because your chemistry dictates the energy of what you are. And so I've written articles and it's all on Doc Misak, DocMisak.com. If you go to docmisak.com, I have my articles that I've posted with naturopathic doctor news and reviews screaming to my profession, like, look, everybody should be doing this. This is amazing stuff. And to me, it makes more sense than anything I learned in naturopathic medicine. The day you consume more energy than your body's getting from your food is the first day something's got to give and you get symptoms. It's all energy based. It's all quantum.
And as everyone can see, your energy is at very high levels. I love it. So, you know,
I'm doing well for my age.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you mind sharing your age?
I'm 52.
52. Yeah. Looking good.
5 kids, keep up with them, 3 businesses. I'm all right.
And it's 7:30 or almost 8 p.m. your time, right?
Yeah. Almost 8.
And you've probably seen 20 patients, 30 patients today. Huh?
I don't see that many in a day because I spend time with them. Oh, you know, right. A new consult, I'm with you 3.5 hours, you know.